I've been lying down for hours now. It's 5:35 a.m. and there's not much I can do. You know what the worst part about my situation is? I'm in the same room as my parents. They keep looking at me, and I can't help but look back and try not to cry or scream. Their eyes are focused on me, and their mouths are wide open. There's a strong scent of blood, and I feel paralyzed with fear. Here's the thing. The second I make any hint that I'm not asleep anymore, I'm completely fucked. I will die, and there's nobody around to save me. I've been trying to think of a way out, but the only idea I have is to rush to the front door and scream for help, hoping any neighbors hear me. It's risky, but if I stay here, I'll surely die. He's waiting for me to wake up and see his masterpiece. You're probably wondering what's going on. I do tend to go ahead of myself sometimes. But 3 hours ago, I heard screaming from the other side of the house. I got up and went to check on the noise before I realized I had to use the restroom. Instead of doing the smart thing and investigating, I used the bathroom first. I could have gotten myself killed right then for my stupid actions. I did my business and took a peek outside the bathroom. There was blood on the carpet. I got very worried and ran back to my room, hiding under the sheets like the pussy I was. I tried to convince myself to go back to sleep, that it was just some really vivid dream or something. But I heard my bedroom door open. Like the terrified child I was, I peeked out from under my blankets to see what was going on. I could see something dragging my dead parents into the room. It was not human. I can tell you that. It was hairless, with no eyes or clothing. It walked like a caveman, with its back slouched as it dragged my parents. But this thing was much smarter than any caveman. It was aware of what it was doing. It propped my dad up on the edge of my bed and made him face me. It then set my mother down in the chair and positioned her towards me as well. It then started rubbing its hands on the walls, staining them with blood, and then drew a circle with the devil's pentagram in it. This thing had made what it would probably call a masterpiece. To finish it off, it scribbled a message into the wall that I could not read in the darkness. It then positioned itself under my bed, waiting to strike. The scariest thing now is my eyes have adjusted to the darkness since then, and I can read the message on the wall. I don't want to look at it, because it's terrifying to think about it, but I feel like I need to see before I'm killed. I peek at the creature's masterpiece. I know you're awake. One school day, a boy named Tom was sitting in class and doing math. It was 6 more minutes until after school. As he was doing his homework, something caught his eye. His desk was next to the window, and he turned and looked to the grass outside. It looked like a picture. When school was over, he ran to the spot where he saw it. He ran fast so that no one else could grab it. He picked it up and smiled. It had a picture of the most beautiful girl he had ever seen. She had a dress with tights on and red shoes, and her hand was formed into a peace sign. She was so beautiful, he wanted to meet her, so he ran all over the school and asked everyone if they knew her or have ever seen her before. But everyone he asked said no. He was devastated. When he was home, he asked his older sister if she knew the girl, but unfortunately, she also said no. It was very late, so Tom walked up the stairs, placed the picture on his bedside table, and went to sleep. In the middle of the night, Tom was awakened by a tap on his window. It was like a nail tapping. He got scared. After the tapping, he heard a giggle. He saw a shadow near his window, so he got out of his bed, walked towards his window, opened it up, and followed the giggling. By the time he reached it, it was gone. The next day again, he asked his neighbors if they knew her. Everybody said, "Sorry, no." When his mother came home, he even asked her if she knew her. She said no. He went to his room, placed the picture on his desk, and fell asleep. Once again, he was awakened by a tapping. He took the picture and followed the giggling. He walked across the road when suddenly he got hit by a car. He was dead with the picture in his hand. The driver got out of the car and tried to help him, but it was too late. Suddenly he saw the picture and picked it up. He saw a cute girl holding up 3 fingers. I stood looking down at my father's final resting place, wrestling with my emotions. I searched them all for even a hint of sadness, but I couldn't find any. Not even the twinge of shame that arose from this realization could overwhelm the strongest thing I felt: relief. I didn't think it would be so pronounced. Perhaps I should have expected this. The pain of seeing someone you love suffer so much is unbearable. I knew it would be from the moment my father received his ALS diagnosis. Visions played out in my mind. Images of this healthy and capable man wasting away, losing every basic human ability. I imagined the pain of seeing him wither, and more selfishly, the pain of having to take care of him. Of course, it all came to pass as I thought it would, only I never imagined what laid beyond the end. Of course, I knew that the man couldn't live forever, but I never once let myself imagine what it would be like when he was gone. "I miss you, Dad," I said, as if he could hear me beneath the feet of packed earth. "It's like losing you twice, once your disease, and now." With every word, I tried to vain to stir up some kind of pain that wasn't in my memory. All I could do, however, was solidify my relief into a kind of gibby celebration. I was free now, yes, but so was he. That contributed to my happiness, perhaps even more so than my own release from the bondage of caregiving. My suffering had been nothing compared to his, and now the worst of it was over. I stayed there for a long time, staring down at where my father lay. It was only when a cool breeze chilled the skin of my arms that I looked up and realized the sky had turned a warm orange. "Night will be falling soon," I said to myself. "I'd better be going." I looked down at the grave once more. "I've got to get home, Dad," I said as I used my shovel to pat down some loose dirt. "I promise I'll come see you often." I shouldered the shovel and went back to the empty wheelchair that waited nearby. It was so much lighter now, without the burden of its previous occupant. By the time I made it back to the van, the aching of my afternoon's digging was settling into my muscles, but not even that could dampen my mood. Before starting the engine and heading home, I took a moment to appreciate the glowing sunset and be grateful. Grateful for the inspiration that had led to today's work, and for my father's immobility.